I'm joined now by the former Prime Minister of Israel, Ehud Barak, also a former head of the armed forces. Thank you very much for being with us. And it is reported this evening that Benjamin Netanyahu is considering a new military ground offensive in Gaza, just as these scenes of hunger and malnutrition continue. What do you think of that?
I think the whole war in the last several months, probably more than few months, is what we call a war of deception. It has nothing to do with the security interests of Israel. It has nothing to do with the future of the hostages, probably risking them. And it's basically a war to hold together the coalition and to save Netanyahu from the day of reckoning that will come inevitably when the war stops, when his criminal court case of corruption will be accelerated. There will be a demand that he could not stand to establish a national inquiry into the events that led to the 7th of October, what happened afterwards, and so on. So basically, it's totally unjustified war. I'm a part of a group of former chiefs of staff, former commander of the armed forces, former heads of Mossad, former heads of Secret Service, and former commissioners of the police, who called together upon Netanyahu to stop the war immediately, to bring back all the hostages, and to start a new chapter. That's the problem. We are facing a problem. The world has to understand Netanyahu and Israel are not the same. A person can be full supporter of Israel, critics Israel, independent of the issue of Netanyahu. Netanyahu is basically a problem for the Israeli public to decide or to depose, not for the rest of the world in a way.
Right, well, because you mentioned the 600 former security and intelligence officials saying basically that Hamas no longer poses a strategic threat. The main group supporting the hostage families say Netanyahu is leading Israel and the hostages to their doom. Do you agree with that?
It's not a secret. Netanyahu torpedoed several times in the past year. He torpedoed kind of opportunities to strike a deal which will release the hostages. For sure, don't read me wrongly. At the top of the causal chain of what happens stands the Hamas with his barbaric attack on Israel on October 7th. But having said that, Israel should hold itself to higher standards and taking or releasing the hostages, especially the civilians among them, which are, they were grabbed out from their beds in the morning. Almost 2 years ago, we have a strong commitment to bring them back, and the whole story with the end of war is not a problem based on the position of strength that Israel has as a result of what happens with the Hezbollah, indirectly with Syria, and then with Iran. We have enough achievements to announce this war over, and the opportunity to open a new war on Hamas, if Hamas stays there and if there will be a compelling need to do it. Israel is a sovereign. No one on earth can block us from attacking an immediate and apparent threat. But that's not the case now, and we have to end it.
Yes. Now, you have written recently that Israel is becoming a pariah state and Netanyahu must be ousted. I just wonder, how should Netanyahu, or how could Netanyahu be ousted? Are you talking about some sort of people's uprising, protests, strikes? What are you suggesting?
First of all, I envy the UK, because in the UK, the things that are much lesser, just lying to the parliament, being found lying to the parliament, will cause you be ejected from political life by your own minister, not by someone, not by massive demonstrations on the street. You need nothing but the norms of it isn't done and the tradition of democracy. And I envy you, first of all. And then ideally, it would have happened through the Knesset, but in the Knesset, he has a majority, a kind of unholy alliance with ultra-Orthodox Jews who are basically have a way of life which block them from serving in the army, so they're dodging the draft. And another group of Messianic, racist, Jewish supremacy, we call them Michiganers. It's nuts in Yiddish, which are happen to be kind of secretary or minister of internal security and minister of finance. And they are pressing Netanyahu, or probably he manipulates them to press him in order to block any stopping of the war, because they have a messianic vision to reconquer Gaza, to re-establish new settlements. That we had been in Gaza. I'm old enough to remember. I participated in taking over Gaza in '67. We were there for 40 years, and Sharon, out of all people, extreme right kind of right-wing leader, he was one who reached the conclusion that we have to pull out from Gaza 20 years ago, and not just pulling out, taking all the soldiers, all the settlements, the synagogues, even the cemeteries. So to come back to Gaza, it's a totally kind of a lunatic idea.
Right, but Mr. Barak, I mean, the supporters of Netanyahu are saying that, look, if Hamas released all the hostages, this war would be over. Do you think it would be?
The war should be stopped. I don't hesitate for a moment to say. Netanyahu always insists on putting on writing and on record that even if there is a full-scale deal to release all the hostages, we keep the right, and in innuendo, we will execute this right to open the war again. So it's done deliberately. Netanyahu wants the Hamas to reject everything. So Hamas doesn't need more than this hint that Israel is determined to resume the war anyhow after the release of the hostages. So they will reject it. So it's a kind, they are cooperating without announcing it.
Right,
Netanyahu would have better keep quiet. And if Israel will compelling need to attack Hamas again, we can do it. But more than this, Netanyahu manipulates the Trump and his inner circle and the rest of the world to believe that we are facing a binary choice. Either we capitulate to Hamas, which is unacceptable, or we'll have to continue until the last, the total, absolute victory, which is another lunatic vision. The reality is different. There is a solution from day one, bring in kind of inter-Arab force, Emiratis, Egyptians, Jordanians, for a limited time, 18 or 24 months, create a technocrats government in Gaza, Palestinian bureaucracy, and building gradually a security force. Only two conditions should be put by Israel. Number one, not a single individual who participated in the massacre of October 7th or part of the armed branch of Hamas cannot serve in any organ of the new entity. Number two, Israel will withdraw only to the perimeter and will withdraw to the border only once all the pre-agreed security arrangements are set in. That's all. It's on the table for a year and a half. Netanyahu rejected it because it means that the Palestinians will be involved and that Israel will have to somehow negotiate, starting a process toward the two-state solution, which is a necessity anyhow, and it's another illusion that we can avoid it for the longer term.
Yeah, and that's another conversation to have. But Mr. Barak, I appreciate you coming on. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.